Okay, so maybe you have been in a situation where you have lived with somebody who makes a lot of noise at night when you are supposed to sleep. You may have been somebody, or you may be somebody who is living in college, or at some point have experienced some apartment type living with some non desirable roommates. And let me tell you, I can relate to your situation. I have been both the non desirable roommate and I have experienced the non desirable roommate as well. But it mainly came down to our preferences and who we were sleeping with in the same room. I'm glad that I ended that sentence the way that I did, because if I had just ended with a period at who I was sleeping with, then it would have taken on a whole different connotation. And now it is even more awkward that I'm pointing that out. But let me get to the main crux of this. There is a trend going on TikTok, which is, of course, the birthplace of all modern recent trends in 2026. This trend, though, that has taken off, according to scientists and experts on sleep, is this idea that if you go to sleep at night with duct tape over your mouth, you will sleep more effectively or efficiently. This is mainly because, and according to this article by the Associated Press, they say specifically, and I'm going to quote them: "The studies behind mouth tape are small, the benefits are modest, the potential risks are there," said Dr. Kimberly Hutchinson at Oregon Health and Science University. So the reason why this is seen as a solution to a problem that is existing, the problem that is being identified is mouth breathing. So according to this article, mouth breathing in adults is not a major health problem per se, but it is better to breathe through your nose, because breathing through your nose can catch and trap germs and a lot of dust and basically things that you do not want to get into your system. And then you sneeze them out, and then that's your body's way of being like, oh, I feel so much better. All that horrible bacteria and disgusting atoms and parasites and particles and P words getting into my body. Nobody wants a disgusting P word getting into my body. Don't be inappropriate. Now, the reason why this is relevant to our situation and to this trend is because people are now saying, well, if you sleep with your mouth open at night, put some duct tape over your mouth. It will solve all problems of getting stuff into your body. You go to sleep at night, you put some duct tape over your mouth, it's great. Everything is solved, everything is great. Hold on, says doctors. Hold on, says scientists. Scientists are arguing against this. They say that there's no actual verifiable evidence that sleeping with duct tape over your mouth actually solves anything. In fact, it could even be worse depending on how you sleep, what position you sleep in, and any other ways that your body, any other ways that you are in your body. Because I cannot find any other way to phrase that. Any existing conditions, I guess, is the best way. But basically, if you have already pre-existing conditions that make it difficult to breathe as is, which many people do experience, it is highly advised against doing this, because then it could lead to other horrible problems that you may experience that could be potentially worse than just sleeping with your mouth open. Doctors recommend that the best ways to actually solve that problem of sleeping with your mouth open is to just take any type of medicine if you need it, or speak with a doctor, speak with a professional, speak with somebody who has advice on how you can regulate how to do this. They also recommend doing breathing exercises, regulating how you're breathing during the day, eating certain foods, doing certain exercises, all of these things that can help regulate your body in a way to where you won't, or where you'll be less likely to sleep with your mouth closed, right? I think that was the best way to phrase that. But anyway, why am I talking about this? This is important to all of us. A, because it's a modern trend on TikTok, and if you watch a lot of TikTok, maybe you can listen to what I am saying to you and hopefully not do this challenge, putting your body at risk and doing all that. What if you suffocate? How this world would be a worse place without you. Don't ever forget that. This world is a better place with you in it. And you just have to know that. You have to wake up tomorrow and just tell yourself this world is a better place with me, okay? Don't lose your life over stupid trends. Come on. But the reason why this came up to me, when I saw this, it was really relevant to something that I was thinking about. And my sleeping experiences have been bad. At the start of this episode, I was talking about roommates. The reason I'm talking about roommates is because I have had situations where I've had trouble sleeping because of a roommate. And it was partly me I will take responsibility. It was partly the roommate itself. It was partly the college system as a whole. Now, this video is no complaints about the college system. I'm no policymaker in any region of the world, okay? I am just Kwame Okoro here to bring you valuable information from my internet show. So here's what I'm saying. Every night during the semester at the school that I was going to, I had this roommate who would come in every night, and normally my sleep schedule was around 9 p.m., 8 to 9 p.m. I like getting 8 hours sleep because I woke up and I like to, do yoga, exercise, and then go to class, do what I had to do, boom, boom, do all that. So my roommate comes in every single night at around midnight to 1 p.m. You can't imagine what that would do. And this was at the point in my life where I was, I guess, less assertive. Now I'd like to think that, this wasn't too long ago, by the way. This was just some years ago. But now I would like to think that in the amount of time since then, I have become a little bit more assertive on stuff like this. But my roommate would always come in, and he would always have this knack, this tendency, to look through all of the drawers in the room, save my closet, which he did once, and I do not know why I never called him out on it. Because I'm a light sleeper. So anything could wake me up. I know some people are heavy sleepers. I'm a light sleeper. Any amounts of noise can wake me up. I always have to tell people I'm living with, I want to respect your choices and your decisions, but I am just letting you know we might have problems if you keep waking me up, at night. And it is very easy for me to wake up. So he kept coming in. But at the time, I did not have this policy because I wasn't as assertive. I wasn't as straightforward in communicating with people. That's all it is. When I say assertive, I don't mean be like, hey, yo, what are you doing right now? You want to take this into the parking lot outside? All right, let's go. Let's go to the parking lot outside. No, it wasn't like that. Not like that, but just communicating in general. So he would open all the drawers and he would go through the closet. He went through my closet once that I can remember. I never called him out on it, and it always resulted in me being in the brightest, most beautiful sleep of my life. And then he would come in and wake me up. Because he would come in and do... And then he would do... Her closet door. And he would keep doing that, and he would pace around the room and do that over and over and over again. And at some point, I won't say what I was thinking in that situation, but just imagine your most violent, darkest thoughts that you ever have gotten if you've ever been in a situation where you've woken up in the middle of the night. I'm not normally a violent person. Let me say that. I'm not normally a violent person, but when I was waking up in the middle of the nights over and over again, I was like... I'm really about to do something. I am really about to do something here. Now, again, I could have easily solved the situation by just communicating and being like, look, I think one time I actually did say something. I was like, yo, insert name here. I'm not going to say their name because they could be watching. And if you are watching, old roommate, if you are watching, that totally did not just come to my mind just now. But if you are watching, I love you and I respect you. I respect you. You have a great life, okay? You are a great human being. I did not mean to say I love you. Let me start the situation over. Oh, no. I love you as a human being. And you are a great human being, okay? You are great. The world matters because of you. And I do not want to spread any negativity towards your way. Okay? You are great. You right there in the camera. But... I hope you have a great life. At the time, I was angry. But I also know that he was angry because I kept saying they tried to hide their identity. He was angry because at the time that this was going on, I was also, waking up early at around 6, 7 a.m. And I did that accidentally, by the way. And I would immediately get up and do yoga, and sometimes I would make some noise. There was one time where I was being particularly petty, and I woke up, did some yoga, stretched as soon as I got out of bed, and then I slammed the door shut as I was leaving to go to the gym. I did. Just imagine this was the front door. And that was because he had done it the previous night, and it was about 5 consecutive nights in a row. So at that point, I was like, okay, let me be petty for a second and just make life terrible. I regret ever being in that situation, and I regret doing a lot of the things that I did at that point in my life in general. Again, that was not too long ago, but in the time I've grown since then, and I feel like I've done some maturing, even though I may still be a child in some ways, and in some ways I may still have a lot of growing to do. I'm 21 years old, okay? I have a lot of growing to do as an individual. At the time, though, you know, when I was like just a few years younger, I was just going through some hard times. So hopefully I learned from that situation. Maybe you learned from that situation, old roomie, if you're watching this video and you recognize me and you're like, huh, that guy sucked. That guy was terrible. But, you know, I hope that everything is really, being real here, I hope everything is going well for you. So that is it. If you have ever had a bad problem with a roommate, let me know. You know, at Jitta_official on YouTube, anywhere you want to post it. Let me know what your biggest problem with a roommate. And also, quick update before we get into accidental improv for this episode. I want to let you guys know that if you have general questions that you want to ask me or any comments that you want to have that I can share in potentially future episodes, you can always at me at Jitta_official or in my social media handles, which will be in the description below. That is it. That's all. Yeah, this is a prop bow, by the way. This is not a real bow. I'm not a licensed bowman. This is just a prop bow. It is the Olympic archery team. The Olympic archery season has started. Kwame Okoro is now up on the line. Yes, John, I think he is doing a really good job this season. I think he's going to prove all of his haters wrong. And he lines it up at the door. And here he goes. I think he won gold this year.